This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
All right, guys. Well, we hear that we're being broadcast, so I'm going to call to order the meeting of the Southampton Select Board for October 10th at 6:05 p.m. And if we could please begin by standing and saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you. All right. We had technically a public hearing for an Eversource poll hearing at 6 o'clock, but I don't believe anybody in the audience is here for that, so we will... Oh, you are? I'm sorry.
I'm representing Eversource.
I'm sorry.
All right, there we go.
Well, please, come forward then. We had you at 6 o'clock, so we'll try to abide by the hearing time, and then we'll come back to open time for the public, okay?
Yeah, I'm Brandon. I'm representing Eversource tonight.
Okay.
Do you all have a copy?
If I could I make a motion to open the public hearing?
Yes, we do need to do that.
So I'll make a motion to open the public hearing for the Eversource poll request.
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Now you may begin.
Do you all have a copy of the map that we sent over or no?
We do have this piece of paper.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, so you have a new resident building a home on the corner of Fulmer Road, just before Crooked Ledge. And in order for us to service that customer without trespassing on the other property line, we need to, we're requesting to add a new pole on the corner there so that they can receive electric service from us. I had spoke with the highway boss. I don't see him here tonight, but he was okay with the position.
So is this like in between two other poles? Is that, it's just not close enough to the new house location?
Yeah, so where the property lines of this new house and the existing house on the further up to the north there, that pole is right on the corner of town property, their property, and the abutting neighbor. So, like I said, to avoid any aerial or underground trespassing, that's really the only spot it can go, unfortunately, so.
Yeah. To me, this is pretty straightforward. I don't have any questions.
Okay. Anybody else have any thoughts or questions? Joy?
No.
It does look pretty simple here. Just one new pole at the, for the new customer on 78 Fulmer Road. Okay. All right. Could we have a motion then?
Well,
Or no? Yes?
I assume the answer is no, but should the chair inquire to make sure nobody in the audience wants to speak against it?
Okay. I'm sorry. Yes. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak for or against us, actually? Okay. Seeing none.
And I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Well, second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
I'll make a motion to approve the petition as presented.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Motion passes.
Thank you
All right.
much.
Thanks for coming.
Of course. Enjoy your evening.
All right. Thank you. All right.
Voting takes longer than the hearing.
In this case, it did, yeah. Okay, so now we'll go back. Open time for the public. We've got a few minutes. Dedicate? Yes. Come on forward. Yep. And as usual, just tell us your name and address, and we're here. Yeah.
How does this thing,
yeah.
does it work well from this side? Okay.
Maybe
Cohen.
maybe a little bit closer. There you go. There you go. Perfect.
Okay,
That'll do.
hold on. I need to see my copy. Nilda Cohen, 12 Montgomery Road. Please bear with me. It's always difficult to speak with a mask, but I need to still practice that. I've written it, so I'm very sensitive to your time limits. I am appearing before you to share an incident with the chair of the COA board. On the day of the COA October board meeting, I sent an email to the chair expressing, let me see if I could loosen this, my surprise in not seeing Zoom being offered. I was planning on attending and speaking during open time. The response was disrespectful and not inclusive. It also was not aligned with what they have often said: we care about our seniors. It was stated in the email, we are not offering Zoom, as there have only been a few who have joined in over the last few years. Not only do other COAs continue to offer Zoom in a hybrid format, they welcome all. The last time I was allowed to speak during open time, I stated the COA had a public relations problem. You would think they would try to change that perception. Issues which have been long a concern are as follows. Financial concerns for the town in moving on a future COA center. I was not impressed with the architect. I question how expenses were being handled during the feasibility phase. If you can't hear me, I'm not.
No, it's fine. You're good. You're doing good.
I continue to be concerned about how the town is going to handle this type of construction project. In addition, most likely increase their annual operating budget. I get calls from people I know. Others are individuals who have seen or know and are not happy. They trust me. Incident 1. Senior Center was left unattended with seniors at the center. On one occasion, the office was left open as one of the service providers was using it to see scheduled appointments. The office should never have been left unattended by paid staff. Obvious reasons: confidential records. Seniors should never be left alone for obvious reasons. On this particular day, there were 2 seniors left at the center. As they were leaving, the first individual fell. The second individual tried to help, was not able, called out for help to the person in the office. It appears a report was never filed. The person did not receive a wellness check, huge liability. I'm getting to the end. Possible violations: HIPAA guidelines, ethics, physical harm high, poor assessment of risk to seniors in certain situations. Lastly, poor transition plan that happened in July, communication regarding closing and staff poorly handled, suspended van services, drivers wanted to work. I have a lot more, but there's documentation, there are individuals, witnesses, and I think there should be an investigation.
Of the COA board is what you're saying.
Well, who's ever's in charge? This has nothing to do with Christina and some of the new people. Mm-hmm. However, this has been going on for too long, mm-hmm. and I have been a victim. My private information has been shared. Mm-hmm. I have been tracked, really. I want the opportunity to show the documents.
Mm-hmm. Okay. At this point, I think we have, from my knowledge, the way they are structured, and correct me if I'm wrong, the COA director basically reports to the select board, and the COA board is an advisory board. And so you've brought it to the select board. So could we have a copy of your letter?
I would be happy
Email
to
it?
have
Or-
copies, but my internet was down. I couldn't use email, so I will be happy
We could- yeah.
to provide it.
Sure.
However, I do want to say that the reason I made effort to talk to the COA board, I really did, and I did it because if there's any kind of information out there, I always go directly to the people. They closed the door. And I want you to get a copy of their response to me, too. And Christina wouldn't know of these incidences. She is not aware, at least that I'm, because I have not shared anything with the new staff.
I mean, I think it is true that most committees are not doing Zoom, though. I mean, some that are doing all Zoom, and others are doing a remote for, like, if there's a guest speaker coming in, like a consultant or something, there's been a remote for that person to come in. But as long as there's an open public meeting, the assumption is that people would come to the town hall. I believe that's the way most committees have been over the last few months. There's very few that are, I don't know if the ones that are actually doing only Zoom or doing partial Zoom for the citizens. Sometimes when we've had a public meeting, like the other night, if you were watching, we had the TA search firm came on, and we did a public meeting, informational meeting, to talk about qualities and so forth for the new town administrator. And that we made a Zoom link available to the residents to come in on, because we were assuming a lot of people
Yeah.
wouldn't come for that.
You know, you don't have to make me aware of that.
So-
I am also very conscious that at every circumstances, the consideration of the population is greatly taken into consideration to accommodate. There's no set rules now.
Okay.
So that's, and there's a flipping. The board will say, we're an advisory board, but they're dictating what happens. They say, well, the director reports to the town administrator. And then at other times, no, we handle that, you know. So it's an accommodation that's made because they feel it's an out. And your response is not sensitive to the situation, that if the seniors want to be involved, why not? Why not? And I'm not at every meeting. I'm not checking. I haven't been at the senior center for over 3 years.
Okay.
So I think and I expect that a response, and these violations are very clear. There again, there's documents.
Okay. Well, if you will send us whatever you have in writing, that will be the next step, probably.
Would you let me know what the next step is?
To forward whatever you have in writing, so we can
Okay,
take a look
from
at
my end.
Yeah.
But then what is?
we would need to take a look at it and see what warrants action, and have a meeting, most likely, with somebody from the COA, yeah.
Okay. Would it be a public meeting?
I don't know yet. I mean,
okay,
I mean,
because-
maybe, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you've brought one individual
But I've done it publicly
viewpoint.
because I felt it was important.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I mean, I would assume they will have an answer you've written to them, I assume, not just putting it here.
No, what happened when
I mean, they have a chance to respond to you as well before we would, I think.
I sent an email. They gave me a response.
Okay.
They're not going to do it. So that's the response.
Okay. All right. Okay, well, thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Anyone else? Yeah, Tammy?
Tammy Walunas, College Highway, Southampton. I am here on behalf of the Southampton Historical Society. The perception and judgment that is going around about me has been alarming. As president of the Southampton Historical Society, it is my duty, my obligation, to do what is best for the Historical Society. See something, say something has been a motto, and I have seen the will of David H. Parsons, and I'm going to say something. The Historical Society is questioning if the town of Southampton and the Ad Hoc Senior Center Feasibility Committee has truly established a final plan for construction of a new senior center within the 2-year deadline that was given to them. I'm not doing this because I want all the money for myself or all of it for the Historical Society. I'm questioning real issues. I did this at the feasibility committee meetings that I attended. I questioned real issues at the March 1st meeting and the April 14th select board meeting. None of these have been resolved or dealt with. So when this is brought forth at town meeting to purchase land for this $10 million senior center, and either the land purchase fails or the override for the senior center building fails at town meeting, what is happening to the $2.4 million that was donated? How long does it need to sit in the trust of the SCA before it is used? Red put a stipulation of 2 years right in his will. When does this revert back to the rest of Red's will? To be distributed between the Shriners, the First Congregational Church, the Southampton Historical Society, and the Southampton Council on Aging. This is my position within the Historical Society, to look out for our town's museum, the Clark Chapman House. That's what I'm doing. Why I volunteer my time and my energy. I'm not here to get all the money for myself. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Okay. Anyone else? Johanna? No? Anyone? Okay. All right. Let us move on. There are no presentations tonight. We do have some reports to the select board. So how about Ian, police report? Would you like to come up? And again, folks, this is our not exactly quarterly. It's coming down to probably closer to once a year almost, or once every 3 quarters.
Quarter for this
but
quarterly, right?
Quarterly's
We're right
a good
on the
name.
quarter.
We're right on the quarter at this point. Sure. Go ahead, please.
Good evening. Ian Illingsworth, Police Chief. I think what's most important to just start off with is our dispatch center's transition and situation right now. Currently, the dispatch center is transitioning into having its resources outsourced, if you will, to the Easthampton Police Department. This came about because of some significant staffing shortages and recruitment efforts that failed. We couldn't recruit people to fill these positions for a multitude of reasons. Mm-hmm. Because it's public safety related, we had to take action. And some of that action included discussing what entities could take us over, which ones were willing to take us over. And in the first stages of this, Easthampton Police Department agreed to adopt our emergency communications. And that started really on August 3rd is when our 911 calls went to Easthampton. It was a very easy process. It's just a matter of the state 911 department causing for anyone's call from Southampton to go directly to Easthampton's PSAP, which is called the Public Safety Answering Point. Because they already were equipped with our radio communications, both fire and police They would then answer those 911 calls, immediately just transfer it over the radio to our dispatchers who remained in the dispatch center, and then our dispatch center then dispatched them, those resources out. As we progressed and time went on, we recognized that, I was starting to lose. We had to fill a lot of these shifts with, still are filling a lot of these shifts with police officers. Dispatchers are working an immense amount of hours, more than they should. Officers are under forced situations to get that position filled. We worked on it until consistently, and currently right now, we are going to begin what I would consider a soft closing of our dispatch center. And what's most important, I should preface this conversation with, is there should be no effect on emergency services in Southampton. And what I mean by that is the towns, the communities' 911 calls, whether it's by text or by landline, will be answered in the same expeditious manner they were answered in Southampton. It's just at a different PSAP, a public safety answering point. What'll happen is, as we transition, and this transition will begin tomorrow, the Easthampton dispatchers will then now start dispatching our resources directly. I will continue to staff our dispatch center with staff for, I'm hoping it'll be a week. If not longer, if it takes longer, we'll staff it longer, just to iron out any hiccups. We've been testing the systems. We tested them. We've been testing them. We tested a lot of them today. Everything right now is, for the most part, in working order. There should be no impact on public safety issues. So that's what's most important to preface. What this may impact is what is the administrative and clerical duties that the dispatchers obtained and coordinated in that office. And what I mean by that is because it was staffed 24/7 by a dispatcher, they were able to receive the public and answer questions directly, issue keys to user groups for certain municipal buildings. That will not occur for the most part. Our lobby will not be locked. It will not be closed. It will be open, and people can communicate with dispatchers. The dispatchers will just be in a remote location. How this works is we have a video intercom system set up in our lobby, and we will also have a phone either set up this evening or by Thursday. That phone, if they pick up the phone, it goes directly to Easthampton Dispatch, and they speak directly with a dispatcher. If they press the intercom button, that goes directly to the dispatcher. This may seem redundant, but I felt it important because if one of those systems failed, I wanted a backup. The lobby will be audio and video recorded, as well as surveilled by the Easthampton Police Department, Easthampton Public Safety Communication Dispatchers. So when somebody comes into the lobby, they'll recognize somebody coming in. If they hit that button or place a call, they will be able to see the person. And then that person can request to see an officer or ask them questions, however it may be. None of the police and dispatch landlines have changed. They're still accessible. If you call the police department's business lines, you will get a voice messaging system, a phone tree, if you will. It'll essentially give you a list of options to press. One will be to speak with a dispatcher or a police officer. One will be a mailbox for myself, directly to my line, the chief's line, for firearms license applications. It'll also, our resident reassurance program will remain in effect. That is that program where we check on residents that may want to be checked on a daily basis, or daily. And what'll happen is they can call, they'll be provided with the specific information, the number to press for, and they leave the messages. Our officers on duty will check those messages to make sure that they called and checked in. If they don't, we follow up on that. So the closing, it will, again, just to reiterate, this lobby will never be closed. However, you may not be greeted by a person in the lobby. Officers may be in the building, but for the most part, short of administrative and reporting obligations that they may have, they'll likely be on the road. However, again, it's just a matter of pressing that button or picking up that phone and requesting to see an officer in the lobby, and then the Easthampton dispatcher will dispatch our officers directly to the lobby to have a face-to-face encounter. Any questions about this transition that you may have that I might be missing? I plan on doing a public notice tonight, if not early morning tomorrow. This public notice, I thought of when I should do it. I didn't want to do it too early, right? Because if I do it too early, I don't want it to be missed. So I'm going to do it, we're going to have somebody staffed in there anyway for about a week. So the notice will go out, and should people have questions, we have a week's time or more to address them.
Yeah. So I guess one quick question is just, what about the keys? I mean, I think that is one of the things that a lot of committees need, is to get, access to either here or some other building or the park or whatever, what's happening with the keys.
It's going to be under the purview of those people that maintain those buildings. For instance, I reached out to the school a while ago, informing them of that. I know in our department head meetings, I've discussed it. It's just going to have, people are going to have to call in advance and obtain a key. Unless the town is willing to, I have researched certain kiosks that are, but again, this costs money and it costs service fees every year. It is something that seems like a viable option, but it's something that the board has to accept on paying.
And has there been any discussion about, like for the pavilion, for example? I mean, in terms of people renting out the pavilion or whatever, in terms of the keys for the bathrooms and so forth, that would be the park commission, is what you're saying?
That would be somebody reaching out to the park commission.
Somebody there,
Yes.
okay, all right.
Yes.
All right, and I assume town hall after hours, if somebody's not here, or?
Basically, for town hall, they will be coming to Judy or myself during the day to get the keys and dropping them back off.
Okay, all right, that's clear.
What is the reason why we can't do that? I realize that recognize that we have police officers, but it's not practical to have them working and coming into the station back and forth to deliver keys and accept keys.
Yes.
And it may not fit in the timeline of the person requesting the keys. They could be tied up on an accident or an investigation where it'll get delayed. So processes and systems have to be in place.
No, I think that just needs to be clear to everybody, because I think the keys is sort of like the thing that I've heard the most about from people. It's like, well, how do I get the keys? So yeah, John?
Ian, a couple questions. So the system that you set up in the lobby, is that constantly recorded? So if and when there's ever a situation, you'll have...
It is recorded. Yes, it is. Yes.
Yeah. And were you part of the upgrade on the phone system? Your phones?
Yes.
All right. So then when they call and leave a message and go and leave a voicemail, are you able to convert that voicemail into an email to preserve its record?
I don't believe so, no. I don't think it's that sophisticated, no.
I think we have that option. I mean, it may be worthwhile, especially when you're relying on other people.
We are a different phone system than...
So you weren't part of the upgrade?
I was when we updated. So, okay, interesting. Let me go back.
That's here.
No, I was not. The police department's not part of that.
Okay.
I upgraded our phone system a couple of years prior.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's what I was referring to.
All right.
Yeah.
Comment, question. Could we perhaps ask our friendly fire department to take over the keys? Or is that something that would not be a good idea?
I think staffing might be an issue there too, but we can...
Again, they are not staffed
they're not
24/7
staffed
either. They're going
24/7
out.
either.
Maybe it's just because I saw them sitting there.
Yeah, well, the chief will be up next after Chief Billingsworth, so we can post that, but yeah, okay.
The drug kiosk that people can drop off their prescriptions, that's still available. Like I said, most of the services are available. I think that's it's these clerical and administrative tasks that dispatch center, we never recognized how much they did. That's going to be the most notable part of this transition.
Yeah.
I am not concerned about public safety. I know that that's going to be taken care of.
Okay.
It's just a matter of there's going to be perhaps some public inconvenience as a result of this.
And at some point, is it anticipated to have a full-time administrative clerk on the day shift?
That is my goal, yes. Yes.
And perhaps when that position's in place, the keys could go back during that period of time.
So long as yes. Yep.
But it's like, this is the window to pick up. And
right,
close.
but that has not been secured, so I do not want to, I don't want to put those eggs in that basket
Yeah,
yet.
no, absolutely, yeah, okay. So soft closing as of tomorrow?
So as of tomorrow, but it'll still be staffed, so people can come, it's not, there'll be a transition period. It'll be shorter, and I also intend on having our officers that are in the station working on reports to have them in that, they'll have a workstation in that lobby so they can receive somebody in there, as well.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Yes.
Just in terms, you mentioned the notification of the townspeople, and obviously we're saying it tonight, but it's a big change for people in town, so how are we making sure that they get all the information so they feel comfortable with this?
We're going to do it through social media.
Okay.
There is in the lobby, it's pretty well, for instance, when you walk, I don't have any photos, I could have given you a presentation of it, but when you walk into the lobby and you go to the window, there's a sign there specifically that says, if you'd like to speak with the dispatcher, press this button.
Yeah.
The dispatcher will automatically send a signal to Easthampton, and then they will actually have a conversation, a voice conversation with the dispatcher or by the phone, whatever it may take. If they're deaf and hard of hearing, there's a sign that they can put in front of that says, please send an officer, I'm hard of hearing. Yeah. And the officer will come completely to accommodate some ADA concerns.
Is that poster in other languages besides English?
It's only in English.
Okay. I don't know what our other language may be in town, if we want to consider that, but just the top of it.
Okay, yeah. And then I think you had sent around also an attachment to us, at least, about sort of the frequently asked questions, and so
But
that'll be part of your...
I expect there to be some questions.
That'll be part of maybe your message out, too, that people could access that.
Yes. So not only will there be a posting on social media, but I put together about 11 questions that I really expect people to be asking, just to reassure the public that, number one, public safety is not going to be impacted. Two, also some of those administrative details that the dispatchers did accommodate, we have plans in place for those. There's a lockbox in there. There's the frequently used forms that people request are in the lobby. They now can get them in the lobby. They can file them in the lobby. There's a lockbox that gets checked on a daily basis. Actually, every shift they'll be checked, and that will be forwarded to the appropriate personnel that they should be. For instance, it could be firearms applications. It could be vacation house checks, but it's in a secured lockbox in the lobby.
Would it, people might have specific concerns. Would it maybe, a suggestion maybe have like open office hours, maybe at some certain time where people could...
My office is always open.
Oh, there you go. That's good to make sure people are aware that, they can if they have any questions, comments.
Yeah, I have an open door policy. If somebody comes down to the police department and asks to speak with me, I speak with them.
There you go.
Yeah. No, and I think, just to reiterate, you've mentioned it briefly, but I know, just want to really reach out and thank the dispatch in particular that have been obviously working under kind of hard conditions. They've been, anticipating this for a while and, doing their best in spite of knowing what's coming. And so we really want to thank them for doing more than their normal job, and also the officers that have been filling in for the dispatch, as well as your whole coordination. So I think that's...
and that's something I want to make sure I address at least before I ended with this part of the presentation, because without their commitment, now recognize this, these were dispatchers that realized that they were going to be losing their part-time jobs or their full-time jobs, right? We actually didn't have any impact, hopefully we'll not have any full-time position impacted by losing their jobs, but the part-time dispatchers who were crucial to our operations, knowing that they were going to lose their job, still committed to the point where they're working well beyond that they normally do to make this happen. So that's just a testament of their loyalty and their dedication to town.
No, much appreciated. Yeah, very good. Okay. Anything else? Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah?
No, I have, are you going to go through the rest of the report? Or
Yes.
Go ahead.
I'll wait.
Staffing in the police department, our part-time force will continue to decline as a result of the conditions on the peace officers and training standards from the Police Reform Act. Our full-time staffing will be down 1 vacancy, provided that we have 2 open slots. We gave a conditional offer of employment to actually 2 for those 2 vacancies, but just recently, our most recent conditional offer of employment, the party declined, and so now we have to fill that. But once those we do have applicants in the queue, so I'm hoping to be able to make those hires. They haven't gone in front of the Personal Policy and Procedures Board or the Select Board yet, but I plan on presenting this month for that. As far as some other concerns, traffic calming, we are constantly getting requests for radar. We're out there when we can. We recently moved our solar speed sign, which is a more semi-permanent speed sign, to the area of the Fletcher Farm because of their their interactions now with the public for the fall season. They get a lot of people there, especially school kids. So we moved that there, which means that that was removed from other locations. One in particular is a very frequent traffic complaint on Line Street. We tried to adjust by putting more officers running radar in that area. However, there's a lot of residents that request traffic enforcement, so we try to split it equally as we can and address it. Calls for service and investigations. During this quarter, there's been numerous breaking and enterings. Again, I can't encourage enough for residents just to make sure they lock their cars at night. I know that this is a bedroom community and sometimes the sidewalks get rolled up, but we're still getting them. And oftentimes those that are victimized are those that are leaving their doors open, or unlocked, I should say. And if they leave their keys in the car as well, guarantee it's going to get stolen. We've had interactions with several of these thieves, if you will, on our midnight shift. However, they have fled the officers, and our protocols don't allow for high-speed pursuits. As a result, sometimes unless we actually get them outside of their car, it's going to be very difficult. But we've had interactions with my point being is our midnight shift is out there looking and doing their best to make sure that they're known and seen.
I think your comment earlier was that this seems like more of an educational step to our public, making sure we get the word out about locking your doors.
And it's easy to do. I understand now it's so easy to keep the doors unlocked, especially in a community which is, doesn't have a lot of crime, but these are occurring, and they occur quite a bit. In fact, they were just last week, we had a string of them on Strong Road. So that we're having our detective and officers that are assisting the detective, they're busy with investigations. We had several times where we had to, especially this past weekend, we had a very busy weekend where we had to call officers in off duty just to address situations because our staffing of 2 officers during the shift wasn't enough. Any questions about that aspect or component of the police department?
Just one question, sort of, based on our, and I don't know if you know the answer. If you want to get back to us, that's fine. But at what point, or what matrix would you use or look to make an argument for an expansion of the force? i.e., adding a 3rd patrol unit 5 nights a week on the overnights. Is there a population threshold? Is there a spike in crime threshold? A comfort feeling?
I think the matrix that I would use is the fact that we can't depend on part-time officers. I shouldn't say depend on part-time officers. I depend on our part-time officers. But through attrition, there will be no longer part-time officers, and if they will, they'll be retired officers that are part-time, and they're not going to want to work the hours that they work. So as a result of that, and I've already been trying to progress softly to that transition, right? I asked for a portion of in the last override, a portion of that override to support another police officer. And the reason I did that was I figured I could take, if we have another police officer, it'll be less overtime and less part-time wages, and it will augment that money that was allocated to that police officer. So I'm trying to do it in a form where it's not as impactful to the town, but I think that we are going to, the goal is, and it's always been since I've been the police chief and the 3 chiefs before me, we've always tried to keep, and we've maintained 2 officers on the road, or I should say 2 officers available, right? That was for public safety and officer safety, and we split the town in districts, and that allowed the most coverage of our town with 2 officers. As a result of the issues going on with policing in not just locally, but nationwide, most departments are shorthanded right now. And so as a result, I'm burning a lot of my budget through overtime, trying to fill that. Not only am I burning my budget, I'm burning those officers out. There's a balance I have to maintain. And so that is where I'm, yes, as far as crime increase and those statistics That can be a measure, but there's also that concern of not having adequate part-time personnel that cover a lot of shifts for us right now.
So with the elimination of the elimination of part-time officers through what the Commonwealth did, including yourself and the lieutenant, how many full-time officers are there when you're fully staffed?
When we're fully staffed with the addition of this newest officer, when we're fully staffed and we don't have the officer that's currently assigned to the military, we are at 11 full-time officers. That's including myself.
That's including you and the lieutenant?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And as a course of action, when the lieutenant's on vacation, do you backfill his shift?
Only, more likely than not, no. It's all, well, we have been if there was a full staff, we would not have to. But if, the way the rotation works, if we lose, because we don't have a full staff right now, our day shift has lost a police officer.
Yeah.
And when one police officer, when the actual patrol officer's off duty, and we don't have that other officer, when they're working, we coordinate their shifts so we always have somebody on. It's just myself and the lieutenant. So if the lieutenant or I take a vacation day, we backfill it.
Yeah, so I mean, exclude you from it, that's 10, right? 11 FTEs back you out, that's 10. Yeah. Assume the average is, even if it's 3 weeks vacation time, that's 30 weeks out of 52 weeks that you don't have it. So if we had a full-timer in there, there'd at least be another 22 weeks of triple coverage perhaps on the evenings.
It might be, yes, yep. Or you can also, do swing shifts where they could do 2 days and 2 evenings or two midnights, or do a 7 to 3 with our. If we're fully staffed, we're considering, I have to meet with my team to figure out how it best suits the department and also the resiliency of the officers. Like I said, they're getting burned out, and I don't want that. That's not healthy for them, and it's not. So I want to make sure that they don't get burned out. So we might put this officer on a shift that splits a shift, right? 7 p to 3 a.m., however it may work. So if somebody calls out sick, it's not 8 hours of overtime somebody's filling, it's only 4.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, keep on. Got a couple more things? Yeah.
Sure. The budget, as far as the overall budget, we're right on target. We're at 20 for the quarter at 25%. We're at 23 expended. I provided you with some what I have for my expenditures so far. And just to give you a reason, if you have any questions about them, as far as police wages, it's at 21.88%. This was as of October 2nd, which is an actual quarter. We're low simply because we are understaffed right now, right? So those wages haven't been. So I'll have to, at some point, what I lost here, I'll have to transfer into overtime at the special town meeting. Police education incentive, only 2.52% have been spent. That's only because an officer retired, and what was prorated for the time he was working this fiscal year was provided to him. Everyone else gets their education incentives every 6 months. So in December, that will go down to about 50%. Police overtime, that's high. We're filling shifts. That is higher than it actually is because I have probably around $12,000 and maybe $10,000 in reimbursement for an officer that's doing outside jurisdictional investigations when he's available. That gets reimbursed. Expenses, we're on target. Equipment maintenance, that's high, but a lot of the contracts require just full payment right off at this beginning of the fiscal year. That's why that is as high as it is. Police building expenses, low, but I have not had been in contact with the town accountant as far as the electric credits. Not, I don't know what's been reconciled yet. Communication wages, again, right on target. Expenses, that'll be probably absorbed. Most of those expenses will be absorbed once we finish this dispatch transition. We still have some things we have to improve in our dispatch center to help with this transition, but nothing that will impact our soft closing. Unfortunately, our full-time officer that was a DARE officer has resigned. He resigned and he left to another department. So we will not be providing DARE services any longer. That's something that I wish we didn't have to say, but it is what it is. The resident reassurance plan, that's in full effect and will remain in full effect even with this transition. We've come up with a system to make sure that that's all set. long-term issues in select board consideration and planning, staffing, as we discussed. And I'm a big proponent of employee resiliency and longevity. I think that longevity, to encourage longevity, especially now in the current situation of law enforcement, is very important. And it also increases the professionalism of your department. Grants. I've actually skipped some grant opportunities simply because a lot of them require officers to work a little bit more, and such as traffic safety grants. And until I'm fully staffed, I am not willing to make them work more than they already have been. Once we're fully staffed, we will go back into the process of seeking a lot of these traffic safety grants. And then you see the equipment maintenance. Our truck is currently in the build phase. It's a police-rated F-150 that we've needed a truck for a long time, and that is in the building phase, and we'll have that hopefully soon.
This was the one that was approved last special town meeting, or?
No, the annual town meeting.
Annual town meeting?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
That's quick.
It is.
And will that truck become Car 2, and you'll go up to 6 vehicles, or are you
That
replacing
truck will become yes, that will become Car 2. Yes, our Tahoe is, the Tahoe is limping to the point where it's only used on details if we don't have enough cars for a detail that requires it, but the Tahoe will be no longer available. It's just not, that car's not safe. But just recognize that some of these cars have well over 130,000 miles on them, so so that's something that we just want to.
Looks like we've got 3 that are really up there.
Yes.
132, 144, and 116,000 miles. Yeah.
And that really concludes my presentation. Unless you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I think I just have one. We're still negotiating the MOU,
Yes.
so that's not ready yet for us to look at.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Good. All right. Anybody else? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. Okay, Chief Fasoli.
Fire Chief Fasoli, Rich, 6 Friar Road. So the fire department's been busy this year. We are at, as of October 7th, Saturday, this past Saturday, we're at 764 calls. Last year at this time, we were at 616, so that's 148 more calls so far this year. We've had 628 for medical and 136 for fire. We finished last year at 818, so we'll go way past that. For mutual aid, we received mutual aid medical calls from Easthampton, Westfield, Northampton. This year, we started tracking how many times we had to call for mutual aid when our ambulance was already out on a call. So far, it is 54 times we've had back-to-back calls. Included in that, 4 times there was 3 calls going on at the same time, where we had to call both Easthampton and Westfield. And one time we had 4 calls where Northampton had to come also. So it was Easthampton, Westfield, Northampton. For Southampton, we responded for mutual aid to Easthampton, Westfield, Westhampton, and Montgomery. Staffing, we are currently at 46 members, 24 paramedics, 14 EMTs, and 8 first responders. Vehicles, all our vehicles, A2, Brush 1, Engine 3 and 4 are all in service. A1 right now is at Marcotte Ford for a service. We should be getting that back hopefully tomorrow or the next day. October is the month we send all our equipment out for service, for preventive maintenance, state and federal inspections. The trucks go over to Westfield to Skyline Services. A1, obviously, it's at Marcotte, and the brush truck goes to Marcotte also. I've been doing some, getting some estimates for engine 1. It's 35 years old, needs some major repairs. It had been put out of service. Chief Workman had put it back in service this spring, but the pump failed. It's pump test. I got an estimate on that. They're looking at $8,500 for a pump repair. The front axle, it's an all-wheel drive vehicle, so the front axle was leaking. I got an estimate for $5,000 from International in West Springfield. And then also the 35-foot ladder on engine 1. We just had our ladders inspected, and that ladder failed. We don't typically use the 35-foot ladder because if you have to go up that high, we usually try and get a ladder truck. So, I mean, the ladder failing, I mean, the truck is still usable, but with these repairs, not to mention the tires are probably 15 years old on it. I'm waiting on an estimate on those. I know Ed said you guys were working on getting a grant for a new vehicle, which would help a lot. The UTV that we just got is in service. It's parked in a trailer out on the side of the station. For the winter, we will park the trailer and the UTV down at the Bleemer Road station, so it's not out in the weather all winter. The trailer has never been registered, so I've been working with Ed to get that taken care of, so we can obviously use it legally down the road. And then finally, the chief car, since I've been using it, it now has a medical BLS bag, basic life support bag, an O2 bag, and an auto defibrillator that it never had before. So.
Just one thing on the vehicles. Did we not talk about going to doing the
right
inspections
in
as
1911,
recommended
yes.
in
and
the
I
assessment report?
spoke to Ed on that, and he wanted to wait till we did the air quality test at the station, get that done first. Mm-hmm. So as soon as we can have them done. I mean, I can do it on engine 1, but seeing it's already, has what, $12,000 worth of repairs already.
Major issues on it already, and that's one that if we end up going for a grant, it would be to replace engine 1, right?
Right, yeah.
I mean, that's the challenge. But would you take these over to Westfield to do the inspection, or wait to the 1911 one? No.
Well, the 1911, if we go with the company that did engine 3, they are out of Rhode Island. Mm-hmm. So I've been looking to see if there's anybody closer. I haven't had any luck with that. So we would probably, for the 1911 inspection, we would have to use that company out of Rhode Island, where they charge the travel fees. Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense to do all the vehicles at one time when they came, right?
Yeah, if they can do it all in one day, that would be good.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the idea is to hold off on that for a while until you do the air quality test first.
Yep.
Okay, just so we're clear. Okay.
The fire stations, obviously we know what kind of condition they're in. The center station, the back rooms, the roofs there's 2 leaks when it rains. One of them is actually right in the office, right above my desk. So this weekend, with the heavy rain, a couple of panels got saturated, and before they fell down onto the computers and everything, I ended up taking them down. But after I took them down, there's a ceiling above the tiles that shows a lot of mold. So I gotta have to have the roof repaired and see if I can take care of that mold. The hot water tank in the station, it basically just runs the bathroom sink. That is not working. That hasn't worked probably in 8-9 months. That was left to me. So it's not a priority to get it fixed because, like I said, it's only for that one sink. It's not for the trailer. The FEMA trailer, the roof and the leaks have been repaired on that. All the mold has been removed, so that's all good. The sheetrock was all replaced. We have a new refurbished backup generator at the station. It was donated and installed by Anchor Electric, so there was no cost involved. They actually took the old generator away. I have paperwork on that. We had 2 old Army surplus generators out back that were acquired by Chief Hyde, so that's going back a ways. Westover Reserve Base actually came and picked those up. So those are gone. Once this fall, once all the bees are gone, we're going to clean around that trailer and straighten all that up as best we can. Bleemer Road, we're also going to clean that station, obviously, so we can fit that trailer in there properly. There's a old pickup on the side of the station down there. I found the paperwork on it, so that can be taken care of, so we can get rid of that.
That belong to the fire department, or?
Yes, it's Chief Hyde had got 2 pickups at government surplus. So what ended up happening was the pickup that's down there, we ended up having to scrounge parts off of it to keep the other one running. So that one doesn't run. It's just been sitting there for years.
Is there anything, I don't know how we have to go about disposing of excess equipment. Is there a process that we have to get involved in somehow, or?
You actually have to declare it as surplus. We come forward with a list.
Okay.
And then the select board declares it as surplus, and then we can auction it off.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Right. There's a old box truck, I guess, over at the highway, and I also found paperwork on that. I contacted the state, and the state said they were ours to do with, take care of, so they don't want them back. Training is ongoing. We have it every Thursday night. We currently have 2 new members attending the Hampshire Basic 6 firefighting class. This Sunday is actually their last class where they go into a live burn building. So that'll be good to get them on board. Also, we are looking to send 3 members to EMT school. The Hampshire County Fire Chiefs Association received a grant, and the grant will pay 90% of the class for the EMT. So the final 10% is either picked up by the student or the sponsoring department. Upcoming events, we started doing some fire prevention. We did a preschool today, Clown Around preschool was today over on Gun Road. This Friday, we will be going to Peanuts Daycare for demonstrations. I'm waiting to hear back from North School. They were off yesterday and today, so I'm waiting to hear back to go do fire prevention there. The Girl Scouts are coming the end of this month as part of their first aid merit badge, so we'll do some demonstrations for them. December, we are invited to Russell and Hoyoke each have a Christmas light parade, so you decorate the fire trucks. We've done that the last few years. And then finally for events would be Santa coming the 15th this year to the station.
Got them booked already.
Yeah.
All right.
I started going through that fire department review report, mostly for equipment. I have the hose testing scheduled for December 11th. That's weather permitting. Basically what they do is they come in, they take all the hose off the truck, test it all, put it back on. They number every hose. And then when they're done, they give a pass-fail grade on each hose, and they give us an inventory of every hose that's on the trucks and the spare hose we have in the station. So we've done the hose testing in-house, but we never really, what they do is, way and above what we could do.
Who comes in and does that, Chief?
It's a company, they're based out of New Jersey, but they have they come out of Connecticut, but the home office is in New Jersey. Easthampton has been using them for years and had good success with them, so.
Yeah, I saw an article recently, I can't remember which town, but somebody just had their hose testing done.
Yeah, I mean, they do it in, one day, where it would probably take us, they have a special truck to do it, where we only have a little machine that can only do like 2 or 3 pieces at a time.
Right. And they do it on engine 1 as well?
They'll be doing all the hose, yeah. Even if engine 1, we don't use it, the hose is still good, so. They'll actually, they'll have to do it over at Conan Park in the parking lot, because there's a hydrant there and there's plenty of space for them to lay out the hose, so. Turnout gear, we weren't able to purchase any gear last year. The money was used for other expenses, so we didn't get to purchase. Last year was the first year we didn't buy any new gear in probably 8 years. Lifespan on according to the NFPA is 10 years. So we're at the point now where the first sets of gears we bought, 9 years ago are coming up due to be replaced again. So with the money, we usually can get everything, the costs have gone up, but we usually try and get 3 sets every year, and then, with the rest of the money, we have to buy boots and helmets and gloves, because that's all on a 10-year cycle, too.
And I guess I was thinking that somewhere Chief Workman had gotten some via a grant. Am I wrong on that?
What's that?
I was thinking that Chief Workman had gotten some turnout gear via a grant this past year. That's not
No, we didn't get any new grant this year.
Okay.
So. Another thing on the report was tires. Yes, the tires are old on engine 3 and engine 4. They're no dry rot or nothing, but because of the age, I got estimates on those, and those are like $3,800 for each truck for all 6 tires. That would be, mounted, balance, everything. So there's a cost involved there. The radios, we completed a radio inventory with serial numbers and date codes, and all radios are now numbered, where in the past they weren't. Our newest radios are actually from 2011 by the date code, but we just purchased some 2020. They had been, so they're brand new radios, they're just like leftovers, where the software was all up to date. The problem with the radios now is, unfortunately, our radio guy had passed away, so now we have to find a new radio repair. The SCBA packs are tested every year. A company comes in and does them all. The bottles themselves are hydro tested every 5 years, and their lifespan is for 15. Last year we purchased, actually 2 years ago, we purchased 9 bottles. A bottle cost about $1,000 a piece, so they're not cheap. Also, I started doing the fire prevention permits online. It's called emergency reporting. It's a program where you can generate the reports and the inspections, and that way, you get the inspection, you can email it to the person you're doing them for. In the past, it was all paper permits, and then, we had to manually file them by street address. That's as far as I've gotten on that. I'll be doing more as I can. Finally, the new fire chief position. I'd like to thank the town administrator and all the people in the town hall for helping me as the interim chief. They've been a big help. Been busy, you know, I'm still working my regular job. So between the 2 jobs, I'm doing probably 70, 80, sometimes 90 hours a week between the 2, so. At first, you know, it was just a fill-in position till the new permanent chief is appointed, but now that I've been doing it for 3 months, I'd like to be considered for the full-time position. Like I said, you know, being the fire chief and still having to do my deputy job, stuff is kind of starting to back up, which isn't good. You know, I'd like to have time to, all the projects that we started, see them to completion, be able to promote somebody to deputy to help out with the office work till we can get a part-time clerk. The new fire station, like to see that. Hiring of the medics, and then of course, you know, continuing the fire prevention inspections. There's a lot of inspections that haven't been done in town. I've been working with the Easthampton fire prevention officer, so he's been showing me all the inspections that need to be done. We've done the dance studio, I've done the school. I have to go for a re-inspection next week, or actually 2 weeks. So this year alone, I myself, I've been on 171 calls, 112 medical and 59 fire. So that's about what I have. So.
And for your inspections, are those done for the various restaurants? And I mean, who do you?
Yes,
Yeah.
we, this month, we have to do all the liquor license restaurants. Okay. Easthampton, they actually did a Tractor Supply for us this year. Chief Workman had them do it because they have, part of Tractor Supply is in Easthampton. So Easthampton took care of that building. But I mean, you know, the church, school inspection, gas station need to be inspected. All the restaurants that don't have liquor licenses, plus all the housing, like 128 College Highway, Country Gardens, any large rooming building, they all need to be inspected. So there's quite a schedule for doing inspections.
Okay.
So.
Anybody else have questions? I don't want to be the only one. Yeah.
I always have questions. So there was a period of time you were kind of listing out a lot of things that need repair, they're costly. For a period of time, you were listing out things that we need to fix, repair, that we need to get up to grade. Right. My question is, do we already have the budget for repairing and getting all that stuff up to grade?
We do have a maintenance budget for the fire trucks and one for the ambulance. I don't know what the budget is. Yep. Right here in front of me. I know if we were to do tires on everything, that would probably take care of most of the budget.
Okay, so it's not a very large budget.
Right, because I mean, right now the budget basically pays for all the regular maintenance. It's not a big budget, I know that.
Yeah, that's the conversation I would like to have and include the select board about increasing that budget for next year so we can get the fire department up to the level they should be at.
Right,
you know,
right.
It's a matter of how the money we put aside for maintenance, it seems like we may have
the trucks
spent the amount we should have in the past couple of years, so it may be catching up with us.
I mean, engine 3 is a 2005, engine 4 is a 2010, so. Yeah. I mean, you know, as stuff gets older, it's
more maintenance.
We try to do the best we can with what we have, so.
Yeah, I appreciate your situation and how hard you work.
We have a good group of guys over there. A lot of people have been stepping up, you know, because they know I work during the day. There's one paramedic lieutenant that does some of the inspections, so he's been helping out a lot. Obviously, the captain does the scheduling. We have 2 EMS coordinators that do a great job. We are starting probably January 1st, we're going to a new medical reporting program. Right now, the one we have is licensed based on a laptop, where the new one will be web-based. So you could actually use, if you had to, you could use your phone to do the reports. I mean, the phone is kind of too small for it, but,
Yeah, so back to what I was saying, what I would like to work out is sort of the roadmap or the say, like a 3 to 5 year get to good plan, that we get our equipment up to the level we need to be, so that where our maintenance budget is at a level it needs to be to maintain,
Right.
not to recover from.
yeah, it's better to maintain than to fix it after it breaks.
Right, so I think what I'm asking you to think about is, if we were to try to space it out over the next 3 to 5 years, how much would we want to look at increasing that budget by to get to that goal of?
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to look at the budget and then figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's just my
we could
request.
probably
I would love to hear the opinion of other people.
Well,
If we're going to do tires, I would recommend engine 3 this year, because that's our primary fire truck. That goes out the door every time. It's older, the tires are older, obviously, so
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
I can get that done.
On that point, and to be clear, this has nothing to do with Chief Fazoli, right? What I'm about to say predates you.
I'm not-
Right, this isn't you.
No.
But I think one of the things that we wanted to have accomplished is we discovered, the Select Board discovered that we're eligible for a 95% reimbursement on a tanker.
Right.
But we've never done anything with it. So to me, that's priority number one. And if we get that, that kind of solves engine 1's issues.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And then number 2 is prior to the current chief that's in there now, it was always hard to get data points from the fire department when the budget came up. So that was one of the reasons why we passed the motion to get the 1911s done prior to the budget. I understand there's only so many things that we can do, and there's a priority, and the priority is take care of the air. I'm good with that. But if we're going, just like we did last year, if we're going to go back to the voters, because we can only go up 2.5%, and ask for more money for the fire department, we've got to have the data points. We need especially on the maintenance issue, we need the 1911 reports, because then it's not, well, I think it's this or it's this. Here's black and white, everything we need to get there. Then how do we map that out in 3 to 5 years by prioritizing, and what's the number look like?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So-
And I think, just to add on to Dan, don't forget that last year we did do, at the town meeting, we did do an override, and it was primarily for fire department. We isolated that out to one issue and a little bit for the police, so it was a public safety focus in terms of that override. So we made some beginning steps.
We're making efforts.
We had some beginning steps,
Yeah.
but I mean, I think if we have more clear data and understand exactly what things are priority to get repaired or replaced, every department's got their vehicle fleet plan and so forth, but there may be some things that are more urgent than others, but yeah. Okay. Anybody else, questions or anything? All right, thank you, Chief.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, Christina, Public Safety Building Committee. Welcome.
Thank you. Christina Madsen, 40 Rattle Hill Road. I'm co-chair of the Public Safety Building Committee with Chief Illingsworth. Mark Darnold, the chair, had to step aside to regain his health, so the chief and I have stepped in for the duration, and we don't know how long that is. But we do hope that Mark can resume his position soon. So, and I invite both chiefs are on the committee, and so I invite you to add to what I'm saying as you will. Whoops. So the one-stop grant application, we are anticipating notice of the awards in October or November. We did receive notice from Senator Markey's office that our request for the congressionally directed spending was not successful. And the same application was sent to both Senators Markey and Warren, so we're assuming that we'll hear nothing further from Senator Warren. We had our kickoff meeting with HKT Architects on August 7th, at which they presented a PowerPoint presentation and to discuss strategies or goals, schedule, and then they opened it up for discussion and got the input of the members as to what our goals are and our vision for the new safety complex. On August 31st, HKT made their first visit. It's Janet Slamenda and Amy Dunlap who are working with us. And they came out to tour the present police department and fire department and to meet with the chiefs to begin the programming. And they spent pretty much a full day here. And were apparently very thorough in their questioning for both the fire department, the police department, and the shared spaces. So they were covering 3 different sections of the new building. And just prior to their coming, we eliminated, and were able to tell them then that we have eliminated 89 Clark Street as a possible site because that has been selected for the possible senior center. So they are working with 3 sites. 204, which is here, 0 College Highway across from the law firm Parco O'Grady, and 79 Clark Street, which is the Merman Keystone property. So that was a full day with the architects here, meeting with the chiefs, and then they went back to start putting together that programming. So that is, working with HK Architects is one of our main tasks, and then there are 2 other components that we're working on, and that is public engagement strategies. We know we have to get that going right away. This is a big job, and we have to gain all of the public support that we can possibly get, because this time around it's absolutely essential that this be passed. So we have we've begun on that. Cindy Palmer has drawn up a list of the various measures we can take to get word out, which include a press statement, brochure, an e-media video using the town website, and on and on. I don't need to read all of these, but we do have a list, and we've had a series of meetings with HKT, so we have not made a lot of progress, but after an initial effort. But I think that our meetings with HKT will slow enough so that we can get back to this. And then the other task that we have is that in order to bring the HKT fee down for the feasibility study, the committee took on what is task 7, which is a comparative evaluation of existing facilities and comparison to other communities. So we have taken that upon ourselves and haven't made very much progress on that yet, but we'll be going. We have made site visits to Granby and Hadley, and we'll be using that information, making those comparisons, and then we hope to visit another site or 2. So those are the 3 ongoing major components of the committee. So getting back to our meetings with HKT, we did receive a revised schedule of services, and now it's a tight schedule, and the completion date is that we're aiming for is March 8th, 2024. So we have a lot to get done before that time. And let's see. September 25th, we had a Zoom meeting to review the draft programming summary, and the figures that, the square footage figures that HKT came up with totaled 30,148 square feet. That is up from, I think, 2014, it was about 22 or 23,000 square feet.
And just to clarify, that programming is based on the needs assessment. So the meetings with both chiefs were to look at the rooms and the size of the rooms that were needed to be functional, and certainly more functional than they are now, because I think we all agree that the space is limited and there's lots of things under the stairways, et cetera, that are not really rooms to be properly used. So I think some of that figuring, right, came because of the actual rooms that are
space needs
in each station.
Everyone is very mindful that we have to keep it at a minimum. This is not luxury space. It's crucial space for both departments and the shared space. So the chiefs have made that very clear that this is what we're looking for, and HKT is working with us to minimize that. So after that initial programming summary, and I'll say that they said that the current prices per square foot price is about $850, and that's more than double than it was in 2014.
Right, so, and you think it's going to go up from there?
Oh, likely.
Just based on your note.
Well, we don't know, but it certainly costs. We don't presume that they're going to go down,
right.
But we don't know. So I guess I put that there because as of today, they're projecting, or they're saying 850, but who knows how long before construction will start. Costing will have to be revised at that time.
With those numbers, that's just under 23 million, which if we took out a 30-year debt, that means that's a debt obligation of $1.8 million a year for 30 years.
Yes. It's a huge undertaking. Now, let me say that after that meeting where they presented the 30,000, they went back and reworked it again with the chief's input, and they brought it down to 27,904 feet.
So did that take into consideration, and if you don't know, that's fine, but did that take into consideration the elimination of dispatch?
Yes, I think so.
That's the 3,000 square feet?
Yep.
No, there were other things. Can you, let's see, some of the things that were taken off were one, Sallyport, is that correct?
Sallyport, yes. One bump for the police department, there was a...
You want to come up here?
So some of the programming included a three-bay Sallyport. So we took one Sallyport off, which a Sallyport is essentially a garage that a cruiser or an ambulance can go into and out of. It's basically and it also it's a secured garage or facility, if you will. If we were to bring somebody in that was arrested, the Sallyport closes and the person is transported into the lockup area. I didn't feel the need for three, so we eliminated one of those. One has to be the size to fit an ambulance, though, and that's by code. So that's why that second one is in there. And we also have some other reasons for a Sallyport, just for some storage. There was a planned room for a one bunk room, which is only 100 square feet. We eliminated that, and the bunk room was in case, there was any type of long-lasting event where an officer needed to rest. We eliminated that. The I also, the shared space, I suggested that maybe it didn't need to be as large as it has been, but that's still to be deliberated on.
Yeah.
And
That's okay, we don't have to go through all of them. I think in general, it's still a work in progress. I mean, it's
Right,
not.
right. But what's
still
most
totally fine.
important here, and I think that needs to be understood by anybody that's watching this, is there are mandated functions that police, fire, and EMS have to undertake. And yes, we are smaller, but we have the same functions as larger communities. We're just of a smaller package. So we still need those functional rooms and functional resources. They just can be smaller.
And I think with that and the building codes and various other things that have changed over the last decade too is
Absolutely.
complicating things too. So
And if I'm not mistaken, I think the cost per square foot back in 2014 was about $200 per square feet.
I think it was 370.
Was it?
three something.
Was
yeah.
it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. But yeah.
And just a last question on square footage. What's the building material that's in that number right now? Is it brick and mortar, or is it like more of the Morton building that Westhampton has? Or we don't know?
I asked a specific question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I asked about cost efficiency and who makes that determination of how it's going to be built and what materials. And they actually are, right now, they indicated that it depends on the current situation, but I believe they said that, I think brick and mortar right now was more the more cost-efficient means to go.
I think they said it was cheaper than like the typical Morton metal building. So even though you might think something else was
Right.
less costly.
And a lot of that
in
may
reality,
have
it's not
to
been
do
that
with
case.
also energy conservation as well.
Right, yeah.
So they are taking that all into account
So
as to what
all to be
built.
decided, so it's all the options are on the table, I
We
think.
really recognize how cost efficient we need to present this to the town, and that's being heavily considered by both the committee and HKT.
Okay, yeah. Christina, last couple points?
Did you want to add anything, Chief, or are you good?
No.
About cutting down?
Or just
Yeah. Do you want to, or should
Just the last couple points, because we need to keep on moving if we can.
All right. So, okay, so, yes, the $850 per square foot is a very general average at this point. So then PAR Corporation came out to do the site evaluations of the 3 sites on September 27th, and they toured Zero College Highway across from Park O'Grady and this site. They could only do a drive-by on 75 Clark because we did not get permission from Marmon Keystone prior to their visit. So we did a ranking on a matrix with HKT last week, and we have zeroed in on 2 sites, and those are 0 and 204 College Highway. We have eliminated the Marmon Keystone property. So they will be coming up with some site
Drawings?
drawings, but they're not, what are they? I'm sorry, I don't have the name for them. It's just a preliminary drop-in building on the sites to try to give us some idea how they might work. So,
And just to add, Christina, PAR Corporation, just for people listening, is the civil engineers and
engineering.
the environmental engineer that came out.
That
So
is
the 2 people that
correct.
came out to tour the properties.
so the matrix included environmental concerns, location, ease of access, accessibility, right, site features, site development, and availability. So those were the categories, and we went through them the committee went through it with HKT's assistance, and that's how we got the rating results.
I have a question about that. So when the PAR studies come back, could they result in extra fees for, say, any of the care for the land before we build? Anything you said that, like hazard mitigation or preparing the site?
Well, they're identifying, they are identifying what they can with sort of from the surface. They haven't done any digging yet. So I think that my understanding is that once we zero in on a site, the more extensive testing will be done. But they were able to identify certain things, like they, around the present fire station, they found some open cans of liquid and that sort of thing. And they identified Zero College Highway as having been former agricultural land. And so that could have pesticide and herbicide residue and so forth. So it's that kind of initial evaluation that they made.
Okay.
So it's ongoing.
There could be additional costs. We don't know.
Oh, well, so let me just say that this $850 estimate is hard costs, and they have estimated that the soft costs will be 25 to 30% above that.
Thank you.
All right, so because this is a huge task, we need to have a full committee. Now, we've never had an active finance representative. The person that was our rep for a short while was there 2 or 3 times. And so we need, I can't stress enough, we need 11 people. Now, we have 9. The Historical Commission is not a functioning commission at this time. We do not have a quorum. There are 3 of us on it. Don Warren was the rep, and so we cannot even appoint a new rep. What I am asking of the Select Board is 2 things. As I say, there are 3 of us. Can the Select Board even temporarily appoint a person to sit with us in order to designate a new rep? Or do you have, as a board, the ability to designate me, because I'm on the commission, as the as the Historical Commission rep? And that would open up an at-large position, because that's where I sit on the committee. So I don't know what you don't need to answer that at this moment, but what I would like to know, is there some way that we can start to fill out? And then since we have never had a finance rep, can you broaden the charge or the mission statement saying that it's someone with financial background?
Well, we have now a 3-person finance committee, right?
You do, but, yep, you do.
Yeah, I mean, we've actually got a full committee for a change, which we haven't had.
It's 5.
Well, we have a quorum. We have a quorum, I'm sorry, we have a quorum, not a full committee, yeah. So that's a challenge, whether any of those are available. I know meeting times are oftentimes a challenge to that, but yeah, Ed?
I'm going to start with historical. Isn't historical a 5-member committee?
7.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah.
You know there's 1 application coming in for historical.
Okay, all right.
To make a 4th person? Or to make a 3rd person, because Dork Dodds was off for...
Dork Dodds
We appointed Daryl.
Dork Dodds is on.
We appointed him.
3.
Last meeting, we
So
appointed
this would
Daryl.
make 4.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
excellent.
So you may be getting closer.
Well, as soon as we have 4, we'll have a quorum, and that will solve
that
it.
may
So
solve
that's very good news.
That may
Thank you.
solve a piece of a problem, yeah.
And then the only other thing I want to bring forth is the committee questioned whether there is any source of funding for creating a brochure. Now, the one that we're using as an example is this one that the Open Space Committee sent out to all residents. I can't remember where the funding for this came from, but I think it was the outreach grant that they got. And what we're wondering about, again, because we need to engage all residents with as much positive information as we can to send to each resident, each residence, a folder of this trifold brochure of some sort, and we just wondered if there might be some source within the town for funding.
Okay. All right, we will hear that and keep that in the back of our minds. I don't think we have an answer for that tonight, but thank you.
No, only that when it is ready to, I mean, it should be done, and when it's ready to go out, it should be
Yeah.
stuck in the quarterly tax bills.
Yeah.
So the mail's
Yeah.
already done.
Of course, then the postage.
There's an objection from the other.
Yeah, depending on the kind of brochure or whatever, it's a thicker postage issue though, too. Yeah.
And you're going to have to be very careful. The Attorney General's office is cracking down on municipalities and what is sent out that maybe end up on ballot questions.
Well, they'd have to find Western Mass first.
Those agencies seem to find us real well.
Yeah,
It's the ones that,
you'll be
it's the one
retired,
that
Ed.
give us money that have a hard time recognizing where we are.
Exactly. Good.
I'm sorry, Ed, are you saying that we have to be careful with the content of a brochure?
Inserting it with the tax bill, right?
Just spending public taxpayer money on something that could be leaning someone to vote yes.
It's got to be a balanced approach, most likely, right?
Oh,
Probably,
Yeah.
yeah.
okay.
So, yeah. Okay.
Go
And
back.
so just one final thing, the Public Safety Building Committee page on the website is being updated.
Oh,
So a lot
yes,
of these
I've-
documents that Christina has mentioned tonight are on the website. So please take a look, and the blank of the matrix is there, and other documents, some of the HKT PowerPoint presentations are there. So we'll keep on updating that for people's knowledge.
Thank you for adding that. I
Yep.
think that was in my own notes,
No
but
problem.
not, that is true, and we thank you
Yeah.
and Cindy for doing that.
Okay. All right, good. Thank you all for filling us in on public safety. I think we've heard a lot tonight, which is, you guys are all doing lots of things, so thank you for all the efforts. Good. All right, let us move on. Mr. Ed, we have a town administrator report.
Sure, for updates, and again, I just keep mentioning this because it is the fall, and we didn't have specific dates. We have been informed by Eversource that they will be doing vegetation work in the area of their transmission right-of-ways adjacent to White Life Road and Middle Road during the fall of 2023. Our fire alarm system and sprinkler vendor will be scheduling the obstruction investigation of the sprinkler, wet, dry, and pre-action systems. This inspection reoccurs every 5 years. The contracted exterior painting and woodwork repair on the historic Old Town Hall Police Station has been completed, other than the installation of new gutters on the 1971 building addition. It was found that the flat membrane roof on the 1971 addition is leaking and in need of immediate replacement. I have written the specifications for the quotes and have posted it in the Central Register and on Combis, as well as the town website and the town bulletin board. It is anticipated that this roof replacement will cost approximately $23,000 to $26,000. The Mass Municipal Association will be having their fall legislative regional breakfast meeting on this Friday, October 13th in Beckett. Please let either Judy or I know if you would like to have us register you for that event. Currently, both Chris Fowles and myself are going. And the work to resurface and reline the Conant Park tennis and basketball courts has been completed. The surface and line painting will need to cure for the next week to fully harden. The court should be reopened for play again around October 16th. Upcoming select board meetings, October 24th and November to be determined. Thank you.
All right. Let's, if anybody has questions, but let's go ahead with the November meetings while we have that on the docket here. We know we're running up toward a Thanksgiving holiday, but I think it looks like we will just clear that. Our regular schedule looks to be November 7th and the 21st. Is that okey-doke with everybody?
Sure.
So far? That will at least keep us on schedule. Then we'll,
So while we're on the schedule.
Yep.
So you're saying the 7th and the 21st?
yeah, that would be our regular every 2-week meeting on
Can
Tuesday.
Can we jump ahead to December and at least pick a target for the potential special town meeting? So we could work backwards on some deadlines and whether we
point,
could
yeah.
actually achieve it or not?
Sure. Well, normally we do these, hang on, get my calendar up here, sorry. Oftentimes we do these on a Tuesday night as well, so December 5th would be a possibility, which would be 2 weeks out from that November meeting. The 19th is maybe pushing very close to Christmas, so the 5th or the 12th might be possibilities.
So, and I guess, I mean, I'll just throw it out there. It'll be December, it'll be night.
Yep.
And going this far out in advance, do we want to consider a Saturday afternoon option? To try and maximize turnout in the middle of the winter? I don't know. I just throw it out there since we're 60 days out.
Yeah.
As a potential.
It's a possibility, I suppose.
Good thought.
Yeah, we could. I mean, that would put it,
Like maybe the 16th? Saturday the 16th?
I have a commitment
Yeah.
every first and third Saturday of the month.
And I would just, I would also note December 15th is a half-day at Norris. So school will be out by noon. And if they're not doing paraprofessional there, if it's up at regional,
that's
building
a
might be available
Friday.
for an earlier
Yeah.
meeting.
Yeah, the 16th doesn't work for me, unfortunately, too. 9th, possibility, a Saturday.
The 9th.
Does that
Yeah.
work for anybody?
And then just map it out and see if it's something that'll work.
Okay, so possibilities, December 5th and 12th as Tuesdays, or the 9th as a Saturday. And see among those three, what dates might work, and what we might have on an agenda, and kind of work ourselves around it. Thanks for that, it's a good idea. We get that somewhat put in italics, at least, as a possibility. Good, all right. Any questions on Ed's report offhand? All right, good. All right, how about select board reports? Anybody have any meetings that they want to report on for the last week or two?
I met with, I can go first. I met, Finance met, their newest member joined. They went over quite a few items and acted on some requests to post. There was discussion on the budget and the process and when they're going to start that, how that's going to work. So all in all, I think it was a pretty productive meeting. I'm drawing a blank, but they did set a regular reoccurring schedule for their meetings, and I'm just drawing a blank on what that's going to be.
Okay,
PPP will meet next week, and I don't think there's anything new to report. No, Norris will meet tomorrow night. That's it for me.
okay, great. All right, Joy, anything?
No, I've been out the past 2 weeks. But I do know there's a housing authority meeting tomorrow at 4:30, and I think we'll discuss
Yep.
the charge later on.
Right,
There was a planning board meeting. It was pretty basic. Basically, one place was requesting to remove a fence, which wasn't required, and the other one was assigning an address. So that's it for one planning board meeting.
okay, all right. All right, and just, you've heard about Public Safety Building Committee, obviously, that's ongoing. We have another meeting, I believe it's on the 16th. Basically, every 2 weeks, pretty much, we're starting to meet at this point in time, given the activities we've got to accomplish. Council on Aging Board had their monthly meeting, pretty much routine business, talking about the new director's ideas for some programming and staffing issues, et cetera. And then Grant Committee will be meeting in another week or so, and has been working with the Council on Aging for a new grant opportunity. We learned that we did not get the Highland Valley grant for the Senior Center for the Council on Aging, but there is another grant opportunity out there that Christina brought to our attention, and so she's been working on it with Kate Rooks in particular from the Grant Committee. And that's, I think, about that for now, although I will bring up, tying on a little bit with John, I think we brought it up at the last meeting about Grant Committee needing extra manpower to handle any kind of fire grant that we might go after, fire management grant, and we still, still don't know a date when the grant opportunity will be open yet, but somewhere probably in probably in November, although that's not totally sure. But anyway, Ed has reached out on my request to Chief Anderson to find out his availability to help us put together the grant application for the idea of a tanker and/or other things that the fire department may decide that they want. And he's come back with his availability and a price for that. And we would just have to agree that that would be something that we would want him to do. So I think we might bring that up for real discussion at the next meeting, perhaps.
Sure.
But I think just to say that we're moving along that line where the grant committee can help with some of the town background, but all the statistics and all the things that are going to be needed for a federal grant application is going to be way above our pay grade. It really takes somebody with specificity in the fire department to know what that's all about. So.
And Chief Anderson has also reminded us that we can put in for two things. Tanker is obviously the first one, but I've also asked with the thought, I've asked Interim Chief Fazoli with the thought of what the department's preference may be for a second item. Might that be radios or CBA equipment? So I think that's...
Or maybe turnout gear.
Well, So I think that was why they've started the inventory of the radios.
Okay, very good.
I'll figure that out.
Yeah, okay. All right, so I think that's about it for general reports for this week. We've got some meetings scheduled up. And again, I just want to draw everybody's attention, those folks that are working on the town website, keeping up your pages, thank you. There's some committees and need to kind of take a look at your website and make use of it and get that out there. If you have forgotten some of your training, just give a holler out to Megan or Dan Breen, and we'll get you a little refresher course if you need it, or at least the paper that describes what you need to do. But the town website is only as good as you all make it, and as much as you keep it up. So we're trying our best to have it look good and have it used. So the town Facebook page, the town website, both are where you'll find the official news about what's going on in Southampton. A lot of that then filters down into the various other Southampton community Facebook page and many other sites. I know, Dan, you're managing one now on sort of Southampton News and Western Mass Volunteering and those kinds of things. So there's a variety of websites out there that have Southampton in the name, but please, keep the town website and the town Facebook page in your mind as where to go for the word. Okay, we have some appointments and resignations. Who would like to take the first one here?
Motion to amend the appointment of Donna Lynn, Council on Aging Board. The previous motion approved the term to expire June 30th, 2026, and it should have been June 30th, 2025.
Okay, so this was an administrator error or something? Okay.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? No? So this is just to shorten it to the real date. She must have been filling in for somebody that had left or whatever. Okay. Yes. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Next.
I don't know what that is.
Well, I can explain what as part of the list of the hazard mitigation plan update committees that charge names the fire chief to that committee.
Right.
So I just plugged that in here because I didn't know at this point in time whether the board's preference would be to make that the interim fire chief or hold for now or whatever. So that's kind of a reminder to myself on that little conundrum.
Well, personally, I was going to say the hazard mitigation plan is very much out of date. We got a grant to get it updated.
Yep.
And we need to be working on that, and the fire chief is an integral part of that, so.
So I would make a motion to appoint the fire chief and/or their designee
Right.
to the Hazard Mitigation Plan Update Committee, term to expire October 1st, 2025. In addition, appoint the town administrator, Ed Gibson, but that term to expire December 31st, 2023. And then the following individuals, all with a term to expire October 1st, 2025, to the Hazard Mitigation Plan Update Committee. Randall Kemp, Highway Superintendent; Brett Simmons, Water Superintendent; Ron Lauren, Tree Warden; Ian Illingsworth, Police Chief; Geraldine Swanson, Health Director, Eliza Pluta, Norris School Principal.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on that? And again, these are,
That's-
just for information's sake, for the grant, these are the typical people that would be involved in the updating of the hazard mitigation plan.
That's a lot of firepower to put in the department, but I think we only have 12.
Exactly. So anyway, all right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Hearing no opposition, all that is approved.
Up to 2 at-large members to be named to that committee.
Okay. We'll get going on that too, but at least if this gets these people on board, and once we can have our consultant, have we actually gone out to look for quotes for the consultant that would guide us through this process yet, or is that's in the works? Or?
They are out there. They will be, I believe they're due back next week, like on the 19th.
Okay.
So we'll have that information back for the next select board meeting.
Great. Okay, all right, new business, all right.
Can we do a point of order? Can we take up the ARPA request?
Take up the,
ARPA request for the library?
sure, we can, since Johanna's sitting over here, yes. All right, yeah, so let me find what we have here. So we have a new ARPA request here, hold on a second.
Yeah, there's 3 of them.
Okay. So this ARPA request for the library is for the exterior portico, basically cleaning and scraping and painting the portico that hasn't been cleaned in 27 years, okay? Or painted in 27 years, rather. Okay, so this is prepping all the areas, scraping, sanding, caulking joints, backling wood, etc. And the amount of work required on prevailing wage is quoted at $5,037. And then to do some bee extermination before the painter gets in there at $250. So the request is $5,287. Okay, anybody would like to share any more information about that? Ed or Johanna, either one?
I'll let Johanna.
Okay.
Hi, Johanna Douglas, Director of the Library. Our portico, as noted, hasn't been taken care of for a very long time. There are bees that have now taken residence in the upper part of it, causing a hazard. We used the portico throughout COVID, and with an expectation that winter could bring a resurgence, we'd like to be able to have access to it and keep it tidy and make it something to be proud of. Thought it was a really good estimate that was provided by Alvarez Painting, and I would appreciate if you take that under consideration. Thank you.
I just have a question.
Yes, please.
Did you look at any other quotes or get any other quotes
Ed,
to compare?
did we get in?
No, just to start the process, this would be best business practices, and Alvarez is the one that was doing the Old Town Hall work.
Okay.
So it was very easy to
have them just
get
go
them to
over there,
help
yeah.
us out, yeah, and provide us with the estimate.
And do we have to go out for a couple of more quotes then, or?
It's best business practice.
Okay, so it's under the 10,000 and.
It's
yeah.
under 10,000. In my opinion, they did a fantastic job at the, Old Town Hall, very thorough. So I would be comfortable having them do this work.
Thank you.
Okay. Does anybody want to take a
What's
thought about this?
What's the available balance of ARPA funds?
Well, we have some. I've got to still get with Bradley to pull back in the ones that we haven't used yet. We do have some leftover funds that have come back in. If you remember the 15,000 that we had to approve at town meeting and so forth, that came back in.
We've got the 30,000 that was savings from the original earmark from the financial
For
software.
the financial software as well. So I don't have the exact figure, John, but I know
You
we
think
have.
it's more than 10,000?
Do we have more than 10,000? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say we do. Because easily 30,000 of that is from the financial software savings, yeah.
Make a motion to approve the ARPA application for the portico not to exceed 5,000, it's on here somewhere.
It's 5,287.
5,287, and for the funding to be ARPA.
I'm sorry, clarification, is that 5,037 including the $250 for the bee extermination?
I think you have to add the 250.
Add the two together. So 250 added to that gets us to 5,287 on the following page, yep. But if you wanted to round it up just a tad to 55, it's probably not a bad idea.
Whoa.
You're the one
Yes,
that
for
rounds up a lot.
5,287, they get 5,287.
You're the one that likes to round up. Well, this is just a very exact figure here. I was just wondering. But yeah, no, if this is a quote that we've got and we don't need to go out for other quotes, then this should be fine. Okay. So
I'll second
we have a
that.
second. Joy, second. Okay. Any other discussion on that? All right. All those in favor? Aye. All right. Motion passes. All right. Thank you. Good. What else do we have in here? We have one from the Park Commission and
One from administration.
one from Ed from Town Hall. So, Ed, would you like to take these both while we're on ARPA? Whichever one first.
Sure, and I'm acting as the agent of the Park Commission, and their chair is, and the Park Commission's chair, Dylan. Basically, what we found, since we actually worked off an original, shall we say, estimate of work that was provided as, would have been an add-on to the pickleball, the installation of the pickleball courts. What we found is that one of the areas that the vendor hadn't asked Vermont Recreational to include in that original estimate was the practice area outside the basketball court to be resurfaced. So that came to $1,975. So we had a little bit extra in the original $25,000. So the ask in front of you would be for $1,810 to include having that practice area resurfaced. And if it doesn't come from ARPA funds, then the Park Commission will have to find somewhere else to come up with the funds to pay for that area to be resurfaced.
So has it been resurfaced in what's already been done or not yet?
Yes.
It's already been done, the work is done.
It's been done.
As I say, the weather is getting behind us. There's no way they can do that any other time.
So so the number on the application is 2,037, but you read off a different number.
Yeah, there's an amended one in your package. At the last week when they were here, they gave us an estimate of between $1,800 and $2,200. I ran the numbers on the worst-case scenario, which would have been $22,000. I actually received the actual invoice today in an email. What they charged for that area was $1,975. I redid the math, so the amount that's actually needed is $1,810.
Okay.
So this would be an amendment, in this case, to the actual, or to top up the original amount approved for the work here.
Which the original amount approved was $25,000, correct?
Okay.
And that 25,000, did that come from CPC funding?
No, that was.
No, that came from ARPA.
ARPA?
That was
Okay.
ARPA. Yeah, this was all ARPA money. Yep.
Sorry, I forget.
Yep. Nope. So an extra 1,812 is needed to top that out.
1,810,
It's
correct.
1,810, I'm sorry. Yep.
That's okay.
Okay. Could we have a motion?
Motion to amend the original appropriation of $25,000 for this project to increase it by $1,810 for a new total of $26,810.
Okay.
ARPA funds.
Yep. Could we have a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thank you.
Motion
And
passes.
I'm sure the Park Commission thanks you also.
Yeah. It looks like they've done a good job over there. I stopped over today, and the courts look amazing.
Yeah, well, what a night and day difference, and
Yeah.
I hope that, you did receive the photos I sent out along the way of the different steps.
Yeah. I mean, there had been huge cracks in the tennis courts and the basketball court and, like major fissures with,
Yeah, they actually had someone stop and ask them if they had actually re-asphalted them after they had put down that black primer coat.
right, okay. All right, and the last one we have in here?
And the last one is for the replacement of the flat roof on the 1971 edition of the Old Town Hall. It was found along the way that that was in worse shape than originally thought and was actually leaking. So we could not do that under the 20% exceedance of a construction contract, because it exceeded 20%, and it also exceeded the original $100,000 that was authorized for ARPA funds to do that. I did send out some photos of the roof, and that you could also some photos of where you could see the water actually leaking through the overhang. I do have those on a flash drive on my computer if you wanted me to throw them up on the screen if you did not see those.
So this is basically the area over the police station, essentially, that's
It's basically the part of the police station that houses the dispatch area, the server room, the booking area, and the Sally Bay that they have at the back of the building.
And this 3,300 is a patch job until we can get a quote to do the entire roof over, or this 3,300 is to do the whole roof?
No, the request is for $23,000.
the 33 is what, though, is
Yeah, it says 33.
existing available, so,
Oh, yes.
so that's already money not used in the,
Then the original $100,000, there's $3,300 left.
Oh,
okay. So it'll be that potentially in addition to
It would be this in addition
the 23?
to the 23.
So 26.3 is your maximum ask, is that it?
Correct.
That's a crazy roof over there.
Isn't it?
It's a,
How much just to
anybody
take
knows
down that
it's a
section?
flat, it's a flat roof, it's not
I
a,
mean, how much just to eliminate the 1971 edition? 40,000? I mean, at this point, there's only 2 people in that entire building. I think we need that much square footage.
there's going to be a lot of stuff still happening in there during the next 5 years.
Yeah, but you can just push them back into the old town hall piece.
Well, I think it's trying to keep it from falling down around our ears completely, huh? So,
Yeah, and that big training room is under that roof also.
okay, so your proposal is to ask for
$23,000.
$23,000 from ARPA
Correct.
to add on to what had already been approved. Okay, which I believe was $100,000 to do the original woodwork and painting and glazing of windows and so forth, fixing broken windows and all that kind of stuff, where water was coming in and animals were coming in on the old town hall portion. So that part has been done. Okay.
We definitely have enough in the ARPA funding for that.
I think we will. I honestly have not checked on the figures on that, but this altogether would get us around that 32-ish thousand. All these three together, or 23, sorry, 23. Yeah. So.
Can we wait till the next meeting until we have numbers?
I would
Or
not
no?
wait. This needs to
Okay.
get taken care of.
Yeah, the trouble is the weather is going to be going against us, I think, for anybody to do any roofing out there. I mean, that's our challenge.
Yeah, it's leaking. They've already got stains inside in the building, and it's just a question of how long it's going to take to actually ruin the new woodwork we just put up.
That 30,000,
Yeah.
well, how would this impact the new woodwork? Isn't that on the old section? What was fixed already?
But the woodwork on the old section was also, all that back woodworking, that was
Yeah.
all replaced.
Yeah, that's already been done.
It's already been done, but now the water's leaking in on it.
Yeah.
I thought this was exterior along the old roof. That was done. Because the flat roof drops down,
Yeah.
but, regardless of that, don't we have an additional savings coming back because of the vote we took on the financial software package?
Yeah, we've got the 30,000 thereabouts.
Was that 30 that we're
That was the
talking
30 I was
about?
talking
But isn't there's a matching grant too?
There is
This
too.
has all been replaced.
If we got the money, we got
Oh, I
the
see.
money.
So, yeah, all the software's been in place. So there is, yes,
That dripping isn't in the front, that's, a lot of it is in
yeah,
the back.
right. The matching grant for the stormwater culvert project is one thing that we'll see, I guess, with the quarterly reports. The quarterly ARPA reports are due soon, so at our next meeting, we might have some of those at least, if not all of them. But in that, I don't know whether the stormwater grant has started using some of their money or not. Yeah, so there's some matching funds there too, depending on what we had to do. So I'm pretty sure we will have enough.
So
I will-
I'll make a motion to approve this, subject to Bradley's signature, that there are sufficient funds within ARPA to cover the additional $23,000.
Okay,
There you go.
Does that make
Second.
sense?
all right, okay. Motion and a second by Dan, all right. Motion by John and second by Dan, rather.
That was the second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right.
Thank you very much. We
Also, while we're
appreciate
on ARPA, I'd like to make a motion to close all applications from this point forward.
I'll second that.
And that any applications outstanding right now that are not directly related to a department be denied.
Well, we've been waiting on two, and I think they were told next week sometime to come in with their, any last thing, so we're waiting on the Canal Bowling Lane and on the quilt shop. Those are the only two that are out
All
there.
right, so I'll just do the first part, that we close the acceptance of any new
Any new
applications.
stuff coming in.
So my question is, what if there's remaining funds after we tally all things up?
We could open up again, I mean, we've
Oh,
got,
I
we've got
see. So
until.
it's closed, but we
But I'm not, my motion is not closing, using it for the budget. It's just non-government agencies,
I see.
non-town, we're shutting off the public piece.
Okay, thank you for explaining.
Yeah. So we just have two of those that are kind of out there right now, that have been out there, and we've asked them to get us any information, or they will, not be considered. So we will hope for them by the end of the end of the month, so the October 20, whatever that meeting is, 26th, 24th, I guess. So with that, okay, so John made a motion, I think, yes? We had a second?
Yes, and Dan seconded.
Dan seconded?
Joyce, seconded.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right, good, okay. Yeah, and we will get some updated figures and charts. We're trying to keep the tracker up on the website too, and I will get the more recent one up to date on, put that up on the website as well, for anybody that wants to look at them. Okay, good, thank you very much. Let's go back up to see where we are. We've talked about the dispatch. I don't know, it sounds like there was no update yet on the regional MOU, is that right? From what
That is
Ian said?
correct.
So nothing yet to discuss about the MOU? So he's in the process of hashing that through, I gather?
Yeah, you'll hear about that before the other members, because you and I were assigned to do that. So as soon as I get something back from Easthampton,
Right.
I'll be sending it along to you.
Okay, fine. All right, next up, Collins, classification update, anything?
Waiting for like a definitive schedule with dates from them. They have said that they will be completed by the end of December, and they just actually sent me another list of stuff that they need. So Judy and I will be working on that and getting it back to them.
And they haven't yet scheduled interviews with the staff, because that was going to be the next follow-up thing,
They
was
have
it
not.
Yeah, so that hopefully everybody filled out their questionnaire that they had to do and got it back to them, and they will then be looking to have further discussions with people, so I hope this process, this has got to be, definitely got to be done before the end of December, so I'm hoping that they will get us some more specific milestones as we go along here, because I think we know we need this, and as we enter the budget season, we need to have this ready at our fingertips to know what we're talking about for staff positions and potential costing if we have to make any adjustments on things, okay? All right, fire chief profile, fire chief search update, job duties. Anything, John, to report on?
So I've reached out and done the research on the assessment centers, and the ones that I've contacted and found will do the assessment once we put forward a pool of candidates.
So we still have to,
So we either need to go out and do the posting and solicit the applications and then create a matrix to score them and rank them and say this, of the 33,000 people that applied, here are the top 10,
yeah.
and then put them through the assessment center to go through that.
So at this point, we have the job description or profile somewhat from the previous chief, and we had, can't recall if we had tried to start updating that or not.
We did not. So I guess the question is, we can either, get this volunteer organization going with the search charge, and/or use one of the similar groups that we're using for the TA. One way or the other, but we got to do something.
Yeah. Anybody have any thoughts on that? I mean, we've already got two consulting firms kind of going in terms of, the TA search committee and, the idea of the assessment center itself, so not actually doing the recruiting part, but, so we actually have that one going. I don't know. I guess it would be a matter of how we would get the word out. That's the challenge. I mean, the only good thing about having a consulting firm is they've got their built-in network. So, I mean, I don't know what would be with the best. Do that. I mean, it's going to cost money, again, to hire another search firm to do it, which is our challenge, is finding the money to do that. So whether, if we've got to have hiring an assessment center to do that part of it, which I think is a great idea, that's going to cost us some money right there. So I guess I was thinking that we would probably do some of this in-house with the committee that, we had started to talk about.
Then that would be the charge to the committee. The charge needs to act as the search firm, and we have 3 members already, and then it's a matter of opening it up to the other 2, and we're trying to find the other 2, but it's a committee of 5, so the 3 can start working immediately.
I think that could be
And and the board itself has already approved the summary and the job post, and the advertising that we're going to do.
We have, yeah.
I would then say that we need an initial budget of, I have no idea what it costs on MMA to put that posting up there, if it's $100 or whatever, but that's where I would suggest we post the job.
A couple $100, depending on
Yeah. So start with
the number of words.
an initial appropriation of $500.
For advertising, basically. Yeah. Question?
Is the interim fire chief a member of that committee right now?
He is not.
Not yet.
Thank you.
No, he's not.
And there is currently $1,000 in, and I forgot what the title of the account is, but the employment advertising account.
Okay. So there could be some.
Right, just so we can get the posting going right away.
Okay, all right. So let's clarify that motion again, and that sounds like a good idea.
So verbally, the charge of the committee would be to act as the search firm, to post the position, develop the job description, and to identify a pool of candidates based on a matrix to be determined, to be presented to an assessment center for testing. And that the subcommittee or the charge committee be authorized to expend up to $500 from the employee advertising line item.
Okay. All right.
Was that a motion?
Yes.
I think that's a motion. We won't make him repeat it. All right. No, that's second by Joy. Okay. Yeah, I think, and like you say, we had worked on the profile, I think, and sort of the basics of the town. Remember, we had seen those documents already, so.
Yeah, the mining community, yeah.
Yeah. So there may be, there might be a little tweak or something, but I think in general, we were fine with what had already been developed on that. So I think that's good. And then we will make that motion, and we have all the motion and second on the table, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right, let's do that, and
So I guess the only thing I'd want to know for clarification, and if Ed can't give me the answer tonight, if you can just get back to me on that. Based on that charge, is that committee initially starting with executive meetings because it's soliciting candidates? When the applications are coming in and we're scoring them in matrix, that would all be an executive session, correct?
It would, yeah, they would open, they would start and open just like ours do, and then it would be executive session to.
Anytime the names are used.
To review the pool of candidates, yes.
Okay.
And if they did any interviewing or whatever, that, as a first step, that would also be an executive session.
all right. Next, hazard mitigation plan update. We talked about that a little bit.
Yeah, it's here because I just wanted to remind everybody, because we need to get the word out that that hazard mitigation plan does call for up to 2 at-large members.
Okay. So basically, anybody who's interested in helping us take a look at our plans whenever there's some sort of natural disaster that might happen, whether there's a flood, whether there's a tornado, whether there's a terrible windstorm and knocking down trees or whatever there might be. We do have the hazard mitigation plan that exists. It's up on our website. And again, it's under the, you'll have to search for it, but it's under the plans and reports subcolumn, subcategory. And the link to the existing hazard mitigation plan is there. So anybody out there who's got some interest in helping with that, we could really use a couple of members to fill out that committee and get that started. We do have a grant, so we'll be, as Ed said, we're going to have a consultant that will walk us through the process, and it's not starting from scratch. It's really an update to see, what we think are the most obvious risks that we have in town, and are we prepared to deal with them should something unforeseen occur. So it's a process that we do need to go through, and I believe the plan, once we do it, I'm fairly sure it's good for like 6 or 7 years, so it's not something that we have to do right away again, but having that in place would also help us to apply for grants, to have an updated hazard mitigation plan. The state always looks for those kinds of things, let alone the feds. So please reach out if you've got some interest, and talk to either Ed or myself. We can probably fill in some more details, and maybe we'll put a little bit more blurbing up on the website too, to describe what it's all about. Okay, great. Thank you much. Next one, TA search. Thanks everybody who joined in on our Zoom meeting to talk about profile and job skills, etc., requirements, possibilities, ideas for the new town administrator, and that was facilitated recently by Community Paradigm Associates, and we had about 20 people, I think, join in on the Zoom, so thanks everybody who did share your comments. There has been basically a lot of that information has been consolidated into something that the select board has seen, which is the position statement, which is pretty much ready to go. I think it's been sent around, and if you haven't had a chance to read it, please try to do so within the next 24 hours if you can. If you see anything that's really glaringly wrong, it was sort of modeled a little bit. I had sent out a draft one, modeled a bit along the one that John had done on the fire chief one, and then Community Paradigm has their own way of doing things, and so this one is probably closer to modeling their South Hadley one, which was one that they'd given us an example of. But it talks about just sort of the background of Southampton. It talks about how our government works here in Southampton, talks a bit about our finances, talks about 2 or 3 main areas of economic and community development, open space and recreation, projects and challenges that are coming up, and then sort of the ideal candidate, and then how somebody would apply. And so they've given us quite a long list here of ideal candidate. And again, this is ideal. If we find the real unicorn out there that has all of these features, I don't know, but it's pretty comprehensive. And so this doesn't really, I don't think this requires a vote on our part. This is just they wanted to share this with us, and this is where they think they're going to go with this. If we had any, comments about, is there some error or something here that really is misstated, they just wanted us to make that correction if there was anything.
Yeah, so two things on that. So I did read it. I thought it was great. I just wrote back to Sharon and asked her to insert our percentage of participation at Hampshire Regional
Okay.
to somebody that's an outsider. But two, I guess I kind of see this as we're approving the advertising for it. So I think out of courtesy, we should at least
Should do a vote.
and forward it to PPB, because traditionally PPB would get an opportunity to review any advertising before it went out to make sure it was on. I don't think there's going to be an objection here, but just as an
Okay.
not to hold it up.
Yeah.
But just to send it up so they get it next Thursday's meeting, they can look at it.
Yeah.
and
Your meeting
be in the loop
this
next,
week?
no,
Next week?
next week.
Okay, but,
Not for any action, just a notification to them.
yeah, notification,
So they
sure,
see it.
yeah. But otherwise, it would allow Community Paradigm to go ahead with this stuff?
I would think if we probably should take the vote for
Yeah,
formality.
okay then, all
Yeah,
right.
just send it along saying, as a follow-up to, your approval of this, here is what was developed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, and they would put in, whatever their estimated return date is for applications sometime in early November, I would assume. They've kind of left it open at the moment, but have you guys had a chance to really read through it at all, or not yet? Or
To be honest with you, I have to fix my email.
I just did that today.
Okay. All right, I mean, I don't want us to wait until the next meeting, so if we need to take a vote on it, I would like to.
I'll make a motion to authorize the chair to release the approval of this by noon on Friday, assuming no objection is raised via email to her by any other member.
Okay,
How's that?
all right, so people will email me if they have any,
And if you hear nothing by Friday, you can let it go.
all right,
I'll second that.
all right. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right, perfect, okay. All right, good. All righty. We've dealt with ARPA, let's see, draft amendments on the PQB rules and regulations, I assume that might be something you'll
I
take up?
think that's
or-
ongoing now, right? So maybe we move that to old business? Unless there's new ones coming forward.
Well, I'm still waiting for any comments coming back from finance on
I got you.
that portion for theirs.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. But otherwise, maybe some of that can move to the next meeting at PQB since you're having one?
We are, yeah, no, it's
Okay.
already going through the process up there.
Great, okay, good. All right, is there any other business that can't wait until the 24th regular meeting?
I just have a question, and I guess I'm looking for confirmation that it's been done, or if it's not done, it's still on the radar to do. But have we been successful in reaching out to KP Law to figure out our next steps with our demand with the cannabis issue?
She was on vacation, so I'll put that on the top of my list for tomorrow.
Perfect, thanks.
Yeah, okay. Good, all right. Anything under old business? Voice over IP? We get our little recorder person to do the town,
No,
Voice yet?
I'm so deep into this server and email
you just
migration.
put your hand in a hat, we'll put names in a hat, and you just pull somebody out.
I have to go back and find the program to record it on now, so.
Okay, I'll help you with that. We'll work on it. All right. Because then we can really cross that one off. Okay, I think we've dealt with these other couple issues here. Anything? Shall we jump down to licenses and permits?
Make a motion to approve a one-day permit to the Friends of the Edward Public Library for Tuesday, November 14th, snow date of, or inclement weather date of November 16th, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. wine only.
Okay,
I'll second.
all right. Hope there's not a snow date need here. Okay, all those in favor?
Inclement weather.
Inclement weather, there we go.
You know,
Thank you.
That could be wind and
As
trees
well.
down, rain.
Please,
The wine
yeah.
isn't
All right.
chilled. I don't know.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right, thank you. Motion passes, all right, that takes care of that.
Although it did snow at Mount Washington yesterday.
All right, and we have two other things just for at least a signature or whatever. Let me, one, we have a, let's see. Oh, got the wrong one. We have just a certificate of retirement for Tom Gahn as our Southampton Water Superintendent for 8 years. And so basically, certificate of retirement awarded to Thomas Gahn, give him a sincere appreciation for your dedicated 8 years as the Southampton Water Superintendent. And thank you for all your service benefiting the community of Southampton. And this is awarded the 10th day of October 2023. So we will sign that. And then next we have just a modification of sorts for the Housing Trust charge. And then we had approved, I don't know, 3-4 months ago, we had approved sort of the Housing Trust charge. Joy, I think you brought this forth, and I believe I was one of the ones that had asked that we, because this is really not the Housing Authority's job, it's really under the Select Board, it's not, the Housing Trust is separate from the Housing Authority, the way I've understood this, right? So it's really the Select Board action, and I had asked it that we had do some sort of a blurb of sorts to be able to send out to people, so you could be, or so that people could be recruited to be part of this process of the new Housing Trust. And I think it was Sierra that
Helps me out.
the chair of the Housing Authority who took it upon herself to put out this 2-pager, which I think looks pretty good. It gives an idea of the basics of what the Housing Trust is all about, some ideas of the structure of the trust and other funding that is done from other communities that have housing trusts. So that might be a good document to use as a recruiting document. But what we had in the charge originally, it had an original date that people that were interested, so let me just read this. It's 5 voting members, including a member of the Select Board and 4 qualified residents. The other additional voting trustees shall be town residents and appointed by the Select Board. And we're looking especially for residents with knowledge or interest in the following areas, which is real estate, finance, affordable housing, banking, architecture, social services, or the like. And then interested individuals must be, in being appointed, must submit the town's volunteer application, which is on the town website. There's also one out in front of Ed's door, and that goes back to Ed, and it gets to us on the Select Board to be on the agenda. And the one thing that had been in here was that applications were due in by August 1st, 2023. So that's obviously a little outdated, so I wanted to make us just have a little modification of that and just change that date, and just arbitrarily we put out November 16th. I don't know if that's a good date or not, but we can
Too
try that.
fast?
Or we can leave it more wide open and not put a date. I guess there's,
It's a month.
it's a month out, but I mean, yeah, it may be short. It may be short, honestly. So there might be a drawback of putting an actual date in it. I mean, I'm of two minds. I think putting in a date sometimes with a deadline, it kind of, makes people act, and it doesn't get lost in the shuffle like it sort of did a little bit there before. But there's a drawback too, that it may be a short amount of time to find people that are interested. So I'm open to.
We can always extend it.
Yeah.
You can always extend it?
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
just leave it, so we
Okay.
can start. It's already been delayed so long.
Yeah, okay. So applications by November 16th, and what is said here is the trust can begin meeting as long as they have a quorum of the intended full membership. So the quorum will be 3 voting members. Okay, so if we are agreement, this will be a 2-year term for anybody who's appointed, and so we'll make that modification and actually re-sign the charge. And I don't know if anybody had any comments about the information for prospective trustees, if that was
No, it looks good.
clear enough, or you think that would attract people to be part of the committee, or whatever we need to do here. But so if there's any comments on that?
This going up somewhere? Is this electronic?
Well, I guess we'll put it out on the Select Board page, news and events. It'll get out on our volunteer page, as well as probably on the homepage under news and events, just because we'll be trying to recruit some people. So yeah, and then we can put it out on the town Facebook page, and some of that gets picked up by other community sites. Here, John. So I don't know, we can talk about other places that would be good, various newsletters in town. There's a wide variety of places I think we could
Yeah, if
do
you.
this.
Sierra sent out the electronic version of this, right? Yeah.
I believe so, yeah. Here, I'll have you, well, yeah, I'll let you guys sign that.
So we don't need a motion to reapprove this. This is all we just need to sign, or motion to, or.
Probably let's just do a motion to just modify the date, yeah.
Approve the charge for the Southampton Housing Trust trustees with the modification.
Okay, of November. Second, okay. Then for modification to November 16th for applications. And okay on the information
Yes.
blurb as well to be added to this. Okay, motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, all right, thank you. That will formalize that. Any updates on the pending items, Ed?
Do we have to formally accept this?
Good point. We might have to do that. Where did I put it? I have it.
The only one would be, I actually was contacted by someone from Eversource today wanting to know if I was available on Friday to walk them through the HVAC controls and HVAC system at Norris for deck grant application. So I have put him in touch with Tom Lavelli, and they are meeting at 9:15 on Friday.
Okay, good. So with that, that might get us moving at least on that Green Communities grant.
Yep.
One more. Okay, and I guess just one other thing, just for the record, I guess. We have formally received a letter from Ed dated October 4th to all of the select board members, just saying, as you're aware, my contract extension as town administrator will expire at the end of this calendar year. I'm notifying you that as my contract expires at the end of the calendar year, I will also be retiring. My date of retirement shall be December 31st, 2023. Thank you very much, and I wish you the best and hope that the next Southampton town administrator who's chosen will serve the town well and for a long period of time. Sincerely, Ed Gibson. So thank you. We've received the formal notice here.
Motion to accept the formal notice with emphasis on the date.
Yep, okay.
Second.
For the record.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right, is there anything else on the agenda? I think one of the things we need to catch up on are some of our minutes. I don't know where our note taker is these days, but we need to really get some minutes caught up on this. Not the, the general minutes, I'm not talking executive. I wasn't looking at you, Dan.
There might be some I have to sign,
Yeah,
perhaps.
okay. All right, I think that's kind of the end of the agenda.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
I think so. All right. All those in favor, we have a quorum. All
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at about 8:35. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you.